Prem Sablo Shri Umapati Mahadev Ki Jai. 5:37 broadcasting in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, we would like to say special namaskar to those devotees around the world, but in particular where our listenership is growing and growing in the United States of America, where daylight savings time is no longer with you, and you're now on Trinidad time. So when I say it's 37 minutes before after 5 a.m. in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm sure it's on your time zone as well. Thank you for joining with us as we have conversations this morning on keeping strife out of our relationships, keeping harbat, as our older people would say, keeping those negative things out of the relationships in our life. You know, some people say, well, Panditji, for relatively smaller issues, I can say no problem. But friends, the same principle applies no matter if it's a small issue or if it's something of greater significance. I keep reminding, sometimes it is more important to resolve a situation than to dissolve a relationship. And when you cover a person's weaknesses, if that person may have a weakness, and you go that extra mile to keep strife out of your home, don't you know that you are sowing a seed of God? God is working through you to help that person. Remember, you cannot change people. Only God can. You see, sometimes as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, sometimes we think that because we're coming from a good place, our intentions are good, we must insist and instruct our children, our family members, or as a supervisor at work, we think that we must demand a particular way. Absolutely, our role is to guide and to give counsel and coaching and advice. But really, the only person that can change me, really, it is me. And therefore, if that's the case, then when you interact with other people in your life, remember, you cannot change them. Only they can change themselves. Bhagwan is using you. God is using you as an instrument of His will. And He's allowing you an opportunity for His divinity to interact with another person. You see, you can harp all day about a person, but your comments will only serve to make things or make your matters worse. And the result will bring strife and more division within your home. You see, the same thing applies within your workplace. Nothing will drive the peace out of your home or in your workplace quicker than constant criticism. Can you imagine, my friends, if someone is always criticizing you, someone is always telling you about the wrong things that you're doing? Do you know, my friends, that children, the relationship with our children sometimes becomes strained because of this? As parents, as grandparents, we are so accustomed to, out of love, of course, to telling and guiding our children, especially when they do things wrong. But sometimes we get so stuck in that routine of catching them doing things wrong. That is all that they hear coming from our lips, from our mouth. And therefore, subliminally we are sending a message to our children, to the younger generation, that I am different from you and I am always here to be a police in your life. And therefore, the child would find someone else who she can relate to, who he can speak freely with, who will not always be quick to judge them and criticize them. And that's why when parents, as elders, as grandparents, as leaders in society, we need to bridge that gap. Sometimes the strife, it is not a quarrel, it is simply a divide. When someone stops communicating with you, sometimes silence, my friends, is worse than an argument. Silence speaks louder than expressing a voice of discontentment. Dear friends, pay attention. You see, we need to adapt and adjust in order to keep the peace. It is not only about swallowing your pride, but it is about assessing every situation, every relationship on its own merit. And if that relationship means something to you, my friends, then it is your responsibility to make an adjustment, to keep that relationship instead of losing it. You're listening to the program Shanti Vandana on the first, the finest, 103 FM.